Hey guys, welcome to Beyond the Brick. This is Mike and today I've got a Technic set for ya. I know I don't usually do Technic sets, but LEGO was kind enough to send me a bunch of new sets for 2020 early release. This one is coming out on January 1st. This is the 42108 Mobile Crane. It's kind of a remake from the 1995 set 8460 pneumatic crane truck. But this one is twice as big with 1292 pieces for $100. The price did not change, but the pieces count is almost doubled by this point. I hope you're gonna enjoy this review. Before we go any further, I want you guys to check out the links below. You can get stuff like our merch. Those cool t-shirts are available. This one's actually a really cool vintage logo made by a fan, so kudos. Really cool shirt, and you can get mugs to enhance your LEGO room, if you will, and support us here at Beyond the Brick. Alright guys, I don't usually do Technic sets, but this one's really cool, so let's jump into it. The box is solid looking. Again, we have 1292 pieces. There is no piece count on this box because that's the promo box sent by LEGO before the production line, but you get the idea. A really nice shot with some sort of a maybe Eastern European neighborhood being built in the background, and on the other side you just see the usual information of the features or what the set offers and stuff like that. This one is not a 2-in-1 set like many current Technic sets go, but with the amount of pieces and the actual cool looks of the initial model, I don't think you really need a second option here. The crane looks really nice. The crane does have the modern looks. For sure, it looks awesome in this futuristic state. I mean, it looks futuristic, but these cranes actually operate nowadays, and you see them in many constructions if you go to a bigger city. It really extends quite high. I think it even states on the box that you can get up to 78 centimeters high, which is 30.7 inches, and the length of the crane is 41 centimeters, 16.1 inches. So pretty crazy numbers there, and you can get this up to 70 degrees of inclination, so that's pretty awesome. And I think that's what we can start with to at least show you what the controls are. Again, it's not a pneumatic or electric set, but there is a way to modify it. Those knobs can be replaced with motors, if you will, but they will stick out quite a bit, so not the best idea. For sure it won't be as aesthetic as it is right now. So first of all, this knob here is responsible for lifting that piston that controls the height of the arm. Again, you can go 70 degrees up. I don't think my camera will really show you how far you can go, but this thing really gets up there, and it's pretty easy operation with a double gear, sort of a gearbox here to just take on all this weight produced by the piston. So it's really easy and smooth to get this up and going. Next you have the rope control, which has a special mechanism to prevent backward operation. If you are trying to lift something heavier, this thing will just block the entire cog from going backwards, if you will. And it also works pretty smoothly in a way, and probably can withstand much higher payloads if you want to. The actual piece of thread is not the usual white thin one, but it's more like a metallic feel, and it feels more sturdy, so you can definitely hook much bigger payloads, just depending on how much you want your Technic bricks to bend, but this thing can take quite a bit, I believe. And on the other side we have the arm control. So if you're gonna see, I'm gonna try to do this with one arm only. You can see that this thing can go as far as pretty much the length of that yellow arm, so we are doubling up your height of the crane. This is the maximum I can go, and here is what I noticed to be a bit of a disappointment here, because the crane, even by its own weight, does try to tip over a bit, and there are some extra legs to support the vehicle, but they won't really work. I'm gonna show you in a second. The rear legs are extended with those extra little cogs on both sides, which is a very satisfying operation here, with just like a kind of like a lock on the last inch. Just click and it locks, click and locks, and then you have extra two ones in the front, which are just reached with your finger, and there's another one on the other side through that little red ball bearing. So you can see now it's actually like has the legs extended, but this doesn't really make any difference. The vehicle still feels like it wants to tip over. Right now I'm at the full angle of the crane, which is 70 degrees. If I go any lower on that angle, the whole thing will just fall from the desk, I can assure you that. And there is not really a payload there, just the usual thing that comes with the set, a bar of concrete or something like that, but nothing else is hanging there. So if you don't really go full angle, and even if you extend the legs, the crane at its fullest height will try to tip over. And I think they could have kind of redesigned the legs here to make it a bit more stable and more similar to the actual real-world operation, but in that state it doesn't really work very well, so not very functional in that matter if you want to go with sideways payload. But it does look cool, I give you that. With the full arm extended, it does provide a really cool display piece for any wannabe engineer or maybe a real engineer that's into Technic. For me, this set will definitely be a looker on my shelf, and you can display it with full extended arm or with the retracted arm that I will show in a second, depending on which way you prefer. It does take a while to get this thing back to the ground level because of how that piston works. So with the motor it's of course would be easier, but with the manual operation it does take quite a bit to get it leveled again. And once you get it leveled, there is a really cool function, a real thing where you can actually connect the hook to the front bar so that it's ready for transportation. As you can see, the hook should be going inside those wheels, so it's guided, the line is guided that way, and that way it doesn't go anywhere. It actually is ready for transportation, just like the real thing. This is the payload I mentioned, so it actually comes with a extra little chain, so works with the hook very well. Pretty cool design actually, with 4 Technic crossbars right there. And one more look at the looks and the cabin going to the rear. Actually, yeah, looks very well from a side profile as well. I really enjoy how the thing looks. How does it drive though? It's really, I think that's my favorite piece of the set. Well, this is your control and it's actually connected, so both, I can lift it right now because it's hooked, but both left and right emergency light does actually steer the whole thing, and it's an 8-way steering, so you can see it can turn all 8 wheels, 4 per each side, which is very, very cool. I found this to be probably the most immensely built function inside the set, and also the most satisfying one to use. It does feel great to drive. You can see those lights are connected, so no matter which one you grab, the thing just goes. And let me maybe show you the mechanism behind it, because I don't think you're gonna see it, but basically it's a massive differential. Below, you build this bar throughout the most of bag number 1, set of bags number 1, and this thing has some really clever techniques to get a 4 per side, each total 8 total wheel steering function. Very clever, and possibly for people who are non-Technic builders like me, those things are what makes Technic really, really cool. And I think that was the last function of this set. As a crane, it does work. It's almost screaming for some sort of power functions, given the fact that LEGO is introducing the new Control Plus scheme with Bluetooth connectivity. This thing kind of would be perfect candidate for that, but there is no real space to incorporate any battery box. I mean, you can try to get the battery box somewhere behind the main cabin, but the motors will stick out a lot because the knobs are on the side. So not really a aesthetic way to modify it to move around with your remote control, which is a bummer because this thing just asks to be remotely controlled if there's a possibility. I bet people will modify it, but I don't think it's gonna look very, very good. Overall, I'm pleased with the stock looks of the set. The stickers, maybe last thing to mention, are kind of plentiful, but they do really blend with the yellow very well, so the shade of yellow on stickers doesn't really go far beyond the yellow of the Technic elements, so that actually makes the stickers really subtle. Even the stickers that, you know, explain you the operation of the rear main section of the vehicle are pretty clear and work pretty well. Even those vents here, those just look good and just work well with the vehicle. Overall, I'm pleased. Maybe if the price was a bit lower at 100, you would expect some sort of an extra power function, but again, it won't be easy to incorporate it. So I guess the price is fair because the pieces are plentiful, and it's way of an upgrade from that 1995 set, for sure. So overall, I think it's a thumbs up from me. I really like the looks of this one, even though it's a Technic set. They kind of have a very similar one, or even the same kind of model-ish, building a train station next to where I live, so I kind of like to peek sometimes, see how they operate these guys, because heavy machinery is kind of a cool thing to have, to see. So having this in a Technic set with so many functionalities and cool looks to just present itself on the shelf, I think it's pretty decent. For $100 though, I wish it had some sort of pneumatic / power functions, if you will. This one doesn't, so it's all manual operation, but still pretty cool. And if you are trying to grab things with the crane, you have everything at your disposal, plus possibilities to modify it if you want to make it a bit more cool and maybe even remotely controlled. Like most of the Technics, this one is also modifiable. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thanks so much for watching, and of course check out the links below for merch, like this shirt or this mug or all the cool things that we offer, which really helps supporting our channel. And also subscriptions, likes, you know how this works, it's YouTube, all the shenanigans that you guys do to keep us going. Thank you so much for watching. It was Bike, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!